this dovetails to something I was going to want to mention anyway. First of all, to your point, in one respect, there are just certain advertisers that you're just not going to have a relationship with. You know, there's plenty of fish in the sea. So something, to me, once in a while, you just have to kind of write somebody off. It's, you know, if you can't educate the advertiser into what really works for them and how they should be utilizing your site, because you know your site better than anybody else as to what works, what doesn't, there just isn't much you're going to be able to do about that. The other thing I was going to say, and it comes back to the agency stuff, and you brought up the networks. For a lot of reasons, I really believe in dealing only with local business owners. There's an aspect, and this goes to this conversation we were having last night about how important local community is and building up local community, strong philosophy there behind what we do. There's also an aspect, and I'll tell it as a story this way. We had a locally owned Verizon dealership in town advertising with us. The manager was really happy with the performance of the ad on the site. They got sold to one of the largest Verizon chains in the country. And after they took the ad down for a while they went through the transition, and then the manager, who was still on with the local store, convinced them that they should advertise. So they agreed to advertise for 1 month. They offered, I forget what the exact offer was, but it was basically a 10% off on a new phone. I mean, it's a really horrible offer where you had to bring in a coupon to get it. I'm like, nobody's going to want this. But their click-through rate was still, for us, pretty decent. And I'm like, you know, we sent 70 people to your website last month. You know, that's, for this market, that's pretty good. They canceled the ad. I talked to the manager about it, and he said the feedback they got was the click-through rate wasn't high enough. They weren't impressed. I know that ad is performed as well as it could, and I know that if they took my advice on how they should be using that ad space, they would perform even better. But I can't have that conversation because it's not a local owner. And that's why it's really important to deal with local owners, especially at this startup phase, because so many of these agencies and networks are buying ads for the wrong reason. They really don't understand online. The local owner, you can educate them and work with them.
Okay, we have, this will be the last question.
One of our biggest challenges is advertisers who can't afford to advertise or think they can't afford to advertise. Howard, I heard you do something with barter, that you take certificates and you let people pay with...
Deal of the day, our deal of the day thing.
Yeah, they pay with merchandise that you then turn around and sell?
Yeah, we were doing deal of the day before there was like a Groupon, or at least before anybody knew about it, and so it's very different. And actually, where's Rusty? This idea really comes from Rusty back in 2005 when you visited the Ventura County Star.
Back when dinosaurs walked the earth.
Yeah, so he's talking about, and it's a radio station thing, of doing getting gift certificates and selling them for half price. Radio stations have done that for a long time, right, Rusty? So I always wanted to do that. I could never get to the point where we're instituting it in Ventura or Bakersfield or at Gatehouse. So first thing I did when I'm like, how can I sell more ads and get over some of this price resistance because we're the new guys and I don't know if you're really going to work. So I went to a restaurant. I was sitting talking to a restaurant, and he's giving me this kind of price resistance. And I remembered the conversation with Rusty. It just popped in my head. I go, well, how about if we do this? Why don't you give me $200 worth of gift certificates I'll sell for half price, and that'll pay for your ad. He's like, okay, let's give that a try. Then I just went out. Then I just made for like the next 2 weeks a mission to visit every locally owned restaurant and pitch this idea to them. And so that's consistently been like 20% of our revenue.
I just want to...
Yeah.
How do you price those? Do you give them full ad credit for the face value of the gift certificate?
One thing I would change if I had it to do over is I have too many businesses now that are getting like box ads at $100 less a month than I would charge if they were paying me cash. And so they're taking up, I mean, space is valuable even on a long scrolling page like ours. And so they're taking up space at a pretty fantastic discount. So there's things I would change about the program now. I might not do it as trade for, I try to do it to where the value of the advertising is being that deal of the day, not necessarily getting the boxes.
Mike?
I just want to say, you might have heard of Groupon. They're from Chicago, and they have been one of our biggest competitors. I hate them with the force of 1,000 exploding suns. I don't know how many times I've gone to an advertiser in my neighborhood and they say, "Oh no, we do Groupon. It's great." But you know, Kathy, our wherever you are, our sales director, she had this incredible insight. She said, "You know, Groupon is just payday loans for businesses." Because that's really how it works. You know, what Groupon does is that it's nothing like what Howard does, which is a very straightforward, easy to account for system. They have a whole system where they take in all this cash and they give you all this cash up front, and then you're kind of stuck footing the bill months later as a business. And we found that, you know, Groupon is kind of cycling through the neighborhoods, and people do them because they want to try them out, and all that cash is very exciting. In fact, maybe if Brad Flora is here, I think Brad made the observation to me that if you're a business about to go bankrupt, Groupon is a great idea.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
And I think actually I've read some stuff where Groupon has figured that out.
And so they're targeting businesses that are ready to go bankrupt?
Exactly. We'll get you the cash to pay next month's rent. So anyway, you just got to wait it out. Because the businesses that are going with Groupon are going to find out how much it blows. And you're still going to be around. And, you know, Groupon.
I hope somebody tweeted Groupon is payday loan.
Yes, please make sure you did. Please make sure you did. That is all. That's all the time we have for this panel. I think that the ending with Groupon is a great way to end this panel because it reminds us what they've been saying throughout this whole thing, which is that you are a local business. You are not a commodity, and it's relationships. That is it. Relationship, relationship, relationship. Thank you, guys. This has been great.
An experiment.
Thank you.